So we're adding.
Welcome to the Town Board meeting Thursday, August 16th. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits to the right, behind the town attorney, and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Here.
Councilman Morris?
Here.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Here.
And Supervisor Perotti.
Here. Public comment?
Our first public comment this evening is going to be from Christy Gast. You're on. It's official.
Hi, Scott, Dawn Marie, Vicky, Victoria, Damien, James, and Michelle. Hi, I'm a new resident in Amenia. I moved here in March. I live across the street. And ever since the first time I came to pay my water bill, I noticed the beautiful auditorium. And since I have a lot of friends who are poets who visit me quite often and spend time writing in my house, I thought it would be nice to possibly organize poetry readings, free, open to the public and all ages or family friendly, in the auditorium. So I've put in a request with Dawn Marie to use the auditorium for that purpose on the 26th of August, and I thought I would introduce myself and briefly speak about that before you guys determine whether that's an appropriate use of the space. The first poet would be Candy Store, who's here. And we also have been speaking with a local ukulele player to give a little performance as well. So this concludes my public comment, and thank you very much.
Okay. What time? Is it scheduled already?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, one of the things we need to talk about is
So
there's a building fee. Could you please stay up at the...
Yeah, sure. As you wish.
So when we're looking to utilize the building outside of recreational activities, the requirement is a $50 payment to use the space, as well as a $1 million insurance.
I did read that on the form. I'm just an individual, so it's up to you. I would love it if you could waive the fee, because I will be not be charging any type of fee at all, and I'll do advertising to let the community know that it's happening and that it's free.
So the reason why I have already added this to my agenda item is because it's something that I had to present to the board, because you are looking for waivers that are outside the realm of a non-for-profit and a rec activity that currently is why we utilize the building. And anytime you ever do see waivers is when it's those types of uses of the building. You're also requesting for a Sunday, so then a board member would have to step up and be willing to open, close, and provide security for the building and ensure, so the reasons, I mean, I know you met with Nancy and she really wasn't sure, because she knew, I think, that you weren't coming in with a complete packet. And, we've only rented the building twice in this type of a capacity, but even our farmers market provides insurance. It's really only our non-for-profits, which are our rec activities, and then some of the organizations of our running for office and our political parties that the board has established that it was a permitted use. So this is a new conversation for the board to really dig into and then provide guidance.
So my thought was that this could easily fall under the form of recreation, and that if you came to our next rec committee meeting, we're looking at like the end of August as an interim, somewhere in the last 2 weeks of August. So we haven't yet set an interim meeting date. But if you could present your project or your proposal as a recreational activity, under the auspices of them, they would then tell the town board it's a recreation activity, and therefore you'd be exempt from the $50 fee since it's free, and you'd be exempt from the insurance requirement.
That's a good idea.
Okay, if you could leave.
So the next rec meeting is September 13th. Thursday, September 13th.
But we are thinking, in our last chain of emails, they were looking for the last 2 weeks of August, whether or not we could come and make another meeting. So there is an interim plan for another meeting if people are available.
Okay, I would request, since the reading is dependent upon the artist being in town, which is why we requested the 26th, I would be, if required, I would be willing to pay the fee this time and then attend a later recreation meeting in case this could be an ongoing occasional free poetry series in the community.
Okay. To pay the $50 fee and,
Yeah, and waive the insurance.
and
since
waive
it's
the insurance
For one time.
for one time,
Right.
and we'll see how it goes.
So we'll make that motion during the middle of the report.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Okay, supervisors report. Wassaic Trail to the Train update. The right-of-way acquisition requirements from DOT are being completed. Town of Amenia Highway Garage land update. DEC required some changes regarding how they wanted the survey mapping done. The updated Mylar and paper maps have been received by DEC. Once the DEC commissioner signs the abandonment documents, we can proceed to the next steps to acquire the land. Amenia Town Hall grant upgrades. The CDBG grant of $93,500 for making the Amenia Town Hall ADA compliant bid has been received, so upgrades to the bathrooms, front door, inside ramp, and railing for outside ramp can be started. The $50,000 dormitory grant secured for the town of Amenia by Senator Susurino will be used to replace old and broken windows on the ground floor with energy-efficient ones. Noise law update. The noise law draft has been sent back to the planning attorney with all comments received from the public for review and updating. Water laws. The town attorney is reviewing the latest draft and will present his recommendations in the coming weeks. The town board will also be reviewing the current water rates to consider increases effective on January 1st, 2019. The solar moratorium. The town attorney will be working with the zoning review committee in order to implement their recommendations so the new solar and other regulations can be implemented as soon as possible. Town clerk report.
Good evening. The minutes of August 2nd were circulated prior to the meeting, and we've discussed an amendment, so I present those minutes with the amendment.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second?
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Abstain.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Also this evening, I acknowledge receipt and the circulation and present to you the resignation of Jeff Barnett Wimsby from the ZBA as chair and as a term member as a member with a term expiring on 12/31/2021.
I'll make a motion that we regretfully accept Jeff Barnett Winsby's resignation as chair and a member of the ZBA.
I second.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Also, we received,
Yes.
we've received notice from the alternate zoning board of appeals person currently on the zoning board of appeals that he would be interested in filling the seat of Jeff Barnett Winsby on a permanent basis. We have already interviewed him, vetted him. He's fully immersed himself in the zoning board of appeals. He has all the information about all the current issues before the zoning board of appeals. So I think it would be a good idea to appoint James Wright to fill the term. So I make a motion to remove James Wright as alternate zoning board of appeals member and appoint James Wright to fill the term ending 12/31/2021 of Jeff Barnett Winsby.
Second.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Should we also advertise for an alternate? Do you need a motion for that?
Yes.
Make a
For-
motion to advertise for an alternate ZBA member position?
I think we can order, we can actually have two, so, according to the last
And-
resolution.
How many do we currently have? So Jim was one.
Yeah, he was, we didn't
We
have
still had
to.
a
Oh, we didn't
vacant.
do, okay.
So we have none.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
I just circulated to the board, which I shared with you. Earlier this week, we had the bid opening with Crawford and Associates that was present for the town hall improvements bid, and their recommendation is what was circulated. Supervisor Perotti and myself were both present, as we did receive one bid.
The ADA bid was $87,750. The grant we have from the county is $93,500. And this particular bid doesn't count the engineering costs, so the difference we would be able to pay the engineering. However, the total window replacement came to $105,000. We currently have a grant from Senator Serino from the Dormitory Authority for $50,000. And I need to know for the board if you want to go ahead with the window replacement and just use the difference from our fund balance.
I have a question. Since you got the original estimate from Home Depot, right? And that's why you thought we could do it for $50,000, this whole lower floor?
Right.
Why, do you know why Home Depot didn't put in a bid? Are they not that kind of, I mean, if we can get this done with Home Depot's 39 or, you know, under 50,000 or in that 50,000.
But I don't think that, that bid was just for the windows themselves.
Not
It
for the
wasn't-
installation?
No, it wasn't for the
Oh.
removal of the old
Oh.
windows, and then there's some insulation that has to be done.
At the same time, which is why it came up to
Yeah.
105.
Yeah.
I see.
You know, to do it properly. I mean, there were 4 contractors. We advertised this locally and through Empire BidNet. At the pre-bid, there were 4 contractors, but in the end, only one ended up doing an actual bid for us. And
So-
according to his references, he's done a lot of this work for other towns.
So it looks like in your supervisor's report that you were recommending that we just replace the old and broken windows on the ground floor with energy efficient ones.
Well, that's all that's all we were doing. The ground floor and then the art room and the boiler room.
Can I also recommend, if that's what you're going to use your $50,000 for, can you also look at the upstairs dance studio, the one closest to the parking lot, is, there was a lot of air coming in. You couldn't close it properly, and it was very, very broken. And you recommend that we have enough money in our fund balance to more than, to accommodate this extra
Yes.
$55,000?
I mean, our other alternative is to reject the total bid and go out to bid again. But I really don't want to lose the only bid that, you know, we have for the project, especially with how good the references were. And it's also been, this particular contractor has also been sent to county planning because they have to approve them for the CDBG grant for the ADA requirements.
Right, and I saw that they said that Crawford recommends that we go for the full amount of everything because it would be more costly to bring in somebody separately to do just one of the items.
Right.
I'm not super thrilled that we only have one bid to choose from. The little summary here at the start says the bid for this project was broken in 2 sections. The first being the replacement of several first and basement floor windows. I can't tell from the exhibit that was part of the bid, just because I don't know how many windows are actually on the ground floor, but is this a full replacement of every single window? First floor and basement, or is it?
Not every single window. It doesn't include the auditorium. And it doesn't include the bookkeeper's window because that one was already done.
Okay.
It includes all the ground floor windows.
Is there any idea of how much a $50,000 additional investment in the windows might offset our energy bills? I know NYSERDA did a full audit of this building and recommended, obviously, the replacement of the windows, right?
Yes.
And so they had considered, is there no possibility of NYSERDA coming in and helping us with that window replacement costs?
They don't do windows anymore. I asked them. We do have the energy audit where they recommended we replace them. The worst ones in the building were the ones in the gymnasium, and those are the ones we had
Started
done.
with, yeah.
Crawford's note also calls out the fact that Trademark's bid for the windows significantly exceeded the original estimate of $43,000. Granted, that's likely because of what you said, which is the original bid was only for the materials, not the installation. But
Because it's, I mean, if you look through it, it says replacement of the windows with new double pane, low energy efficient windows, infill area above window according to the drawing. And then there would be insulation put around the windows. And right now there isn't any.
Is it possible that some, so you bid this whole thing out, and the idea was that the companies would bid on the ADA improvements and the windows.
Right.
So it's possible that just a window company wouldn't have been able to bid on this because it was wrapped up into these other projects of which they are not going to be able to bid. So if you bid it out singly as a straight window replacement, a company that specializes, those companies that specialize in window replacement, then might be able to give a more competitive bid. In other words, this is such a big chunk of responsibility, not everybody would be bidding on this who would otherwise, perhaps. If there's no, is there a deadline for us other than we have to complete, obviously, the CDBG grant within X amount of a year, right? They give us a year?
Yeah.
So there's time to try again, maybe just breaking out the window and hope that window people bid on this in a more competitive and aggressive, so that we have at least a sense that yes, it does cost $105,000, or no, a real, Anderson Windows could come in here and doing it for $75,000. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Well, what we would have to do, if I'm correct, Scott, is to reject the bid.
Right. So I believe there was a reason for Crawford recommending pursuing this with a single contractor who could subcontract it because of coordination of the window and the ADA project. He didn't think 2 separate general contractors would have been able to coordinate it. I think that was the driving factor there.
Yeah.
So what you'd have to do now is, if you don't award this as it is, you'd have to reject the bid, and at the same time you could authorize a new bid, and there are, it's still conceivable that a single general contractor could have it, but you could break down the bid into
As an alternative?
as an alternative. So
Right.
the base project would be the ADA, and the alternative would be the window, all windows, and then a per window. So you could choose to replace 3 out of 10 windows if that's all your budget
Yeah,
warranted.
budget per
Right
window,
now, the way it was spec'd, you can't do that. You can't break it down right now. We'd have to rebid it in order to do that.
Right.
Okay. Yes.
But I think if you want to do it, from what I understand, the engineer is still recommending that it be done as a single bid with a base bid and an alternate, as opposed to 2 separate bids, so he can control the general contractor.
Right.
Right, but so a professional window company, yes, Crawford Associates is going to be overseeing both of these projects. That's the only reason why we dovetailed these two, because one is not dependent on the other.
But
right?
we
It's
don't
just
have
for
to
the
rebid
efficiency
them.
of the engineering.
We don't have to rebid them exactly the way we bid them the first time.
No,
No.
exactly.
Well, that's what we're
That's-
talking about, is bidding separately.
That's what I would recommend.
We've had this conversation
Yeah.
before. I mean, the reason Crawford is involved is because of the ADA compliance aspect of this, of the ADA portion of this project, right? There's no, the windows just sort of secondary to what,
Yes.
they don't necessarily need to be involved. for
That's
a
what I'm
window.
thinking. I mean, a window company, I mean, somebody to make sure that it got
So
installed
what we could do
correctly,
is
yes.
rebid it and then just rebid it for the ADA.
And not the windows? Or do 2 separate bids, or
The 2 separate bids.
you can certainly do that, and I don't know what, how Crawford would respond to that, but it's your discretion on how you want to bid it. I think they wanted to bid a certain way, but it doesn't mean you have to do it that way.
Well, the idea was to have a contractor who would subcontract out each
Right.
item, but that isn't how it
Happening.
worked out.
Right.
So that's certainly feasible to do, and, you rebid it in the same manner and through, the same state empire bidding system, and, potentially you could get some more responses. It's a busy construction season right now, so it's tough to sometimes get the contractors, right?
I'm not sure what all the particulars of this discussion, but if you want me to contribute, I will.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Haggerty, grant writer for the town of Amenia. You do have a couple grants. I'm not sure what the bid amount that you're discussing is, or whether that is...
Well, the CDBG is pretty cut and dry. I mean, there's, as far as doing the ADA, Crawford has been working hand in hand with Dutchess County Planning, because ADA is very regulated, to make sure that all the regulations are followed.
Well, I understand that, but you do have 2 outstanding grants, right, of $50,000
Right, and the
from SAM,
50,000 was for the windows.
$93,000 from CDBG to potentially draw down that we haven't drawn down yet. But, I mean, there's 100 and, what is that, 143,000, so to cover the cost of both projects. It sounded like it made sense to do it at once. I mean, I'm not sure.
But that
what-
isn't how it worked out, so.
You don't,
we're
the bids
thinking
are
of-
above, and you want, well, then
Well,
you
the
could just-
window bid came in at 105. We have a grant for 50.
Oh, just for the windows?
I don't think the CDBG grant can be used for the window portion of this project, only for the ADA portion of the project.
That's right. They are 2 separate projects. They are 2 separate grants. Yeah. I would just... I
So
mean,
we
it
can,
does-
so only thing we really need to do tonight is to decide to reject the bid. Is that correct?
Correct.
that's-
And then talk to Crawford and Company
Right. if
about
you-
how we want it, how we want the second bid to go out.
Right. If we're not prepared to authorize a rebid tonight, we are not obligated to do that. We can just reject it, and then when we're ready to come back in 2 weeks or whatever, the next meeting, perhaps authorize a rebid if Crawford has a recommendation for us by then.
But if we authorize a rebid,
We don't want it to go out the same way.
we don't want it to go out the
Right,
same
so
way.
right, so we don't want to authorize the rebid tonight. After we consult with Crawford, we'll come back and authorize a rebid.
But what we do want to do tonight is reject the bid.
You don't have to reject it yet.
Oh, we don't?
You
Okay.
don't.
See, I just want to make sure we're doing
Yeah.
the right
You
thing.
have 45 days, okay? So if we want to take a couple of weeks to not reject it in case we can work out something else or decide to come up with the money from another source, I suggest that we not reject it tonight if you're not prepared to authorize a rebid, and then we'll regroup in 2 weeks and decide to reject it at that time, or, if another grant comes up in 2 weeks, we'll know, or we'll just rebid it after consultation with Crawford on the best way to do that. So I would do nothing tonight.
Okay.
We're not, and this contract was obligated to hold this bid for 45 days. So even if we come back in 2 weeks and make a decision then, they're still obligated.
Okay.
All right?
Does that sound good to everybody?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So the next one is bids for the ductless split system. Mike Segelkin, our building code enforcement officer, was able to obtain 3 bids for the ductless split systems. In your packets this evening, I'm presenting Petro Home Services in the amount of $11,495, American Heating and Cooling in the amount of $17,469, and Mount Kisco Mechanic Services Group in the amount of $11,380. After speaking with Mr. Segelkin, he did go ahead and he makes the recommendation for the low bid of the Mount Kisco Mechanical Services Group. He is familiar with this this group, who's happening to be doing a lot of business in town at the current time.
See, the ductless system would do away with the air conditioning and the subsequent noise from that in the courtroom and in the meeting room.
Yeah.
I have not had a chance to go through these in detail, but do we know what, I am familiar with one of the bidder's warranty and service contracts after install because I personally have used them before. What are all the terms for support similar?
I don't know, you can get that information if you're not ready to, we don't have to vote on this tonight. But the terms of service and the warranty certainly are important.
Yeah, different manufacturers on the equipment side, they'll come with their own manufacturer's warranty, and then typically the installer will have something 1, 3, 4 years of warranty on workmanship, and then a service contract that's included typically in the first 2 years of the post installation.
So you want to check into the service contract and warranty?
Yeah, I
For all?
haven't gone through this. So like I'm just looking at the first. What is this? This
We can
is
get that information.
Petro's recommending Fujitsu, which comes with a 12-year manufacturer warranty. I'm not really sure. What the Mount Kisco is proposing carrier equipment. I don't know what. Yeah, I would just like some more time to go through this, if that's all right.
Okay, and we can get additional information on the service contract and warranty for each of them. We can do that. So we'll table this to the next meeting.
Okay. Good. As we heard in our public comment earlier this evening, we have a request for the use of the building on Sunday, August 26th. Did anybody want to commit to opening and closing and taking that event on?
I'll do it. Just tell me what time they plan to do it on that day.
2 to 3 p.m.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Okay.
I'll make a motion
Thank
that
you.
we authorize the use of the Town Hall Auditorium on Sunday, August 26th from 2 to 3 p.m. for a poetry reading open to the public.
And ukulele.
and to waive the $50, to waive the insurance requirement, and it's a one-time authorization.
$50.
And require a $50 payment.
Second?
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
With that activity going on, everybody stay tuned because we do have a new activity on Sunday, August 26th. I have been emailing back and forth with Chip Watt, our recreation chairman. I've informed him that Linda Gregory sent an email, which has been since then forwarded to me by the supervisor, that the free fitness class on Mondays and Wednesday nights is moving times from 5:30. It's now going to begin at 6 and go from 6 to 7. As we all know, school season is coming up right around the corner, so let's go over our activities here at the building that are free for all of our residents. Monday nights, we have our fitness class from 6 to 7, beanbag toss and pickleball from 6 to 7, volleyball at the high school starting when school starts, September 6th.
No, August.
Oh, you're starting.
Oh, sorry, it's after Labor Day.
So that Tuesday after Labor Day, just right after when school starts, it'll be from 6 to 9. Again, Wednesdays is the free fitness class from 6 to 7. Thursday is line dancing from 5:30 to 6:30. Coming up beginning on Saturdays, we're going to have our fabulous dance and theater. The times are going to be announced with our flyers. This Saturday, cheerleading is having their sign-ups right here in the front of the town hall from 9 till 11. As we know, soccer season is in full groom with the fall, so over at Beekman Park, you can find soccer games beginning at 9 a.m. with your youngsters, and your older kids' games are usually starting around 11. So we have a lot of rec activities that are offered here in Amenia. So stay tuned for as the flyers come in. I'll post them on our website and will be posted throughout the building. And as we conclude my final bit of business, I present to the town board this evening the vouchers on the abstract that was dated on August the 13th, consisting of 7 pages that were reviewed by the office. For general fund, $78,799.74. Highway fund, $148,312.86. Amenia lighting, $1,356.18. Wassaic lighting, $489.36. Amenia water, $16,466.27, for a total of this abstract, $245,424.41.
I make a motion to accept what you just said.
Authorized payment of claims?
That's the one. That's the one. I have to learn these terms.
You're doing great. You're doing great. And
Pay
it's in
the
the
bill.
total amount, $245,424.41. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Morris. All right. So Councilwoman Smoji.
Yes.
Councilman Morris.
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti.
Yes.
Great. And that'll conclude my report for this evening.
Highway Department report?
And they thought it was a short meeting.
Okay, we completed our blacktopping job up on Depot Hill, Powder House, and O'Hanley Drive. The original price was $153,591. It came in at $135,836.83. New employee started on Monday, named Jay Spock. So we're back to full crew, and we've been helping Northeast Blacktop. They currently have our shared paver, probably maybe to the end of the month, depending on the weather, and then they come here and help us blacktop with it. That's all I really have.
Thank you for all your hard work trying to pave between rainstorms.
Yeah,
Must not have been easy.
Yep.
Any luck with the light pole?
I'm sorry. I have not had a chance to look in my files for the company that provided those, but that's on my list to do, and I apologize.
Okay, no problem. All right, thank you.
That is light poles.
Are there any other committee reports?
There is no CAC meeting in August. It will resume in September, the third Wednesday at 7 p.m. here in this room.
Okay, then we'll have a report from the grant writer, Mike Haggerty.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. It's great to be here. It's been a great time for grants. It is grant writing season, so to speak. I had a pleasure working with the highway superintendent on a hazard mitigation grant, which I was able to hand in personally in Albany yesterday. And it was a real pleasure to meet the gentleman by the name of Steve Bornt, who's kind of shepherding our grant for us. We were invited through a letter of intent to apply to a full grant. We're asking for $100,000. An $80,000 federal grant for a bank stabilization project on Deep Hollow Road. So I think it's a good project, and he said he wants to work with us to fund it, which I thought was really nice. He's from a small town in Rensselaer County, similar to Amenia, so we were talking a little bit about the town and some of the infrastructure needs, which he definitely related to. So that was a grant that was completed. I spoke to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Rural Services, about some grants that they have that you may be interested in. Particularly, what was brought to my attention by Marco about USDA has a grant program. We knew about the rural development grants, and this is a grant pertaining to water and waste disposal grants and loans that they give to small towns under 5,000 population. So we are eligible, and I did speak to Gretchen Pinkel, who's going to be the regional director for our region. She's transferring from the Albany area to Middletown. But anyway, she did confirm that Amenia is eligible for up to $30,000 to do a study, or like a full engineering report, which is kind of needed. I know like a year ago you interviewed engineers, but you really do need an engineer to do a report in order to gain, especially the state grants that are out there, the new water infrastructure grants. It really requires a full-fledged engineering report, or at least a detailed cost estimate of what is needed for a system like your water system. So we were thinking that this $30,000 grant opportunity might be a good opportunity for the town to pursue, to develop this engineering report. $30,000 would be paying up to 75%. We have heard that these reports can be costly. One reasonable quote that we did hear was about $50,000, from someone who knows the, Mark, I don't want to say, get into too much specifics about costs, but that's a ballpark figure, and that seems reasonable, which was confirmed by Stephen Bornt as we talked about that, because he has done some grants for water systems similar to Amenia's. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and the idea of having an engineer.
It's in other matters if you want to look at the information. Sorry.
We were talking about this, like I've been coming to Amenia and meeting with Victoria, talking about grants that we want to apply for, grants that we have already on the books that we are working on. And this is a problem I know that has been facing the town. You've been looking to get engineers to give you an idea of what is needed in the water system, and it's really needed in order to get a major grant. We do have the study that Marco did that is valuable, and I would certainly include that with any application that we do. So I just wanted to bring up, that's really why I came tonight, because we were talking, and I know Marco couldn't make it, but I just wanted to, put that on the radar screen. We had also, the other grants, I'll just quickly mention that we're working on, we want to get a Greenway grant to do a concept plan for Wassaic Park, which is also needed in order to get construction money. You really do need a good concept plan. Parkitects gave us a good concept plan, but it's not a fully fledged plan that we could use. to fund a larger grant.
And there wasn't any cost estimate with it?
That's right. They didn't
It
give
was
us
just a
that-
broad
yes.
overview?
It was a really good one, I thought. They had some really good ideas about improving access, improving handicapped accessibility to the park. And I did notice that still is, it's a possibility, although not for sure, it could be eligible under a CDBG program, but we would have to talk to Ann Saylor to see if it would be eligible. We've tried in the past and they've said, no, it isn't, because technically you're not removing an architectural barrier. But, you know, that's, I think, I've seen other grants that were just recently awarded where towns are getting money for their playgrounds and things to make them more handicapped accessible. So it's a possibility, but the Greenway...
Also, the HVA wants to work with us on this, because part of the plan that Parkitect gave us was to have more access to the stream.
It was,
So they were
yes.
going to go back there and see what they could do to assist us with grants.
It was nice working with Maria Gross on from the HVA on the Climate Smart Communities grant. I was able to help her a little bit on that. She helped us with letters of support as well. She's also looking into a grant that could benefit Wassaic Park, the Trees for Tribs, which we've participated in the past, where it's free plantings from the DEC at various sites. I know she sent out an email and copied you on it. They are looking for potential sites, so she's going to be looking at Wassaic Park. And then the other two projects I want to work on are getting a new claim for the Wassaic Trail to the Train project to keep that grant active, and also following up with our grant from the Dormitory Authority for the Trail to the Train.
And you wanted a greenway?
Well, there is also a recommendation from the Enhancement Committee that we apply to the Greenway also for the design work that Marcia Kaufman and Leo Blackman did. They gave a presentation here on their recommendations for making physical and permanent plantings that would be more appropriate for Fountain Square. So that would, we were going to at least start at the top with design fees for $6,000 for those two to formalize that plan and get it ready for bid. And they would be overseeing the improvements as well, and then look for other grants to actually put in the garden, which would be, they estimated at $35,000, but Silo Ridge was willing to help with some of those costs. So
We could maybe even look at the tribute gardens again,
Right.
if Mr. Whalen is listening. But it would be, he's been a big friend to the town of Amenia. We did get a $10,000 grant from them for improvements to Fountain Square in the past.
Well, actually,
Maybe-
when we applied for the Main Street grant this year, we also
Yes.
made part of the Main Street grant for the streetscape part of it, upgrades to, in fact, Mike got information from Leo that he put in it about
how
the-
much was requested?
That was nice. Well, his estimate was like in the $30,000 range. It would be beyond what the grant would pay for, but, it'd be a good project. That's what we did the last time, actually, when we did
Well,
get the Main
we got
Street grant.
25,000 last time, didn't we?
Yes, and also, it's not a match either. It's all 100% grant. This time it can only be 15,000 if we get it. And I really hope we do get it, because I think Amenia needs it. We've applied 4 years in a row now. We also applied as a little bit of insurance this time for Empire State Development Funds, because we have been viewed very favorably by the region for the last 2 years, and the project has been rated very high as a regional priority, because it is downtown revitalization, and there's a lot going on in Dutchess County. This is a big development in Amenia, so really, I think it's a big priority to get that grant. And we did get a lot of letters of support from Sue Serino, from Congressman Faso, pretty much everyone gave us, and
Yeah,
even
Dee Dee
local
Barrett's office.
Dee Dee Barrett, yes.
And also, we got letter of support from Silo Ridge. We also had a letter from Four Brothers and Colette Moss, and, some of the local business people.
And people had
So it
expressed a
was a
lot of
very
support in the
strong,
past, too.
yeah, it was
Yes.
very strong with letters of support.
Are you going to be at Town Hall this weekend? Is that, I understood that you and
It's
Victoria
Sunday.
would be meeting on Sunday?
Yes,
If
yes, we meet this Sunday, 'cause I have
that's a possibility, I could meet you as well and bring whatever plans we have for the for
Fountain Square.
following up, yeah.
Oh, good. That sounds like a priority then for the Greenway, maybe for now.
Well,
Because they have a couple of deadlines coming up. They
right.
do have rolling deadlines.
September and October, so we
Yes.
could try one or the other, whichever one is ready.
I think we wanted to put a sign there too, didn't we? Some kind of a sign?
That
To-
was not included in the proposal, so there would be some need for,
Additional funds for that.
looking at that separately, maybe.
Oh, good. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I've been
What
coming on
time?
weekends and at night. Probably in the afternoon, early afternoon. What's good for you guys? Like after, like 1 or 2?
1 or 2 sounds fine.
Yeah, that would be fine.
For a few hours. Okay, great.
Mike, do you need authorization to pursue the USDA water and wastewater?
It would be nice because there may be a formal resolution that I have to prepare just so that, yes, I would appreciate getting approval to go ahead with that because it's definitely, even though it's a rolling deadline, it's one of those things where the first come, first served, whatever money they have left. And I think this is a good time to apply. I just spoke to Gretchen, who's going to be heading up the program, so.
So we have
I
to
could
choose an
talk to-
engineer for the engineering report?
Well, the grant would be for the
It would be to fund that.
To fund
I could
it.
use Marco's report. It would, but you would have to eventually hire an engineer as part of it, and it would have to really adhere to USDA's guidelines,
Okay.
and has to be a competitive or a
So we can use
qualifications-based
the information
selection.
in his survey for the grant in order to pay for the engineering report. Is that correct?
Up to 75%, well, up to 30,000 is the maximum they
Yeah.
give.
So if you guys recall, last year I went to the Syracuse University Environmental Finance Center water and wastewater multi-day event up near Albany. And there were a couple of things. One mirrors exactly what you just said, which was that a town, if they do want to seek any grant monies for any wastewater or water district projects, then you need to have a decent engineering study. Their team did offer support for those, so it would be in addition to any grant money that was secured for an engineering study. They would also then contribute, as a nonprofit, they would contribute some effort and resources to that as well. So that might be an interesting thing to do. I would love to find I would love to have a more comprehensive engineering study done of the entire town as opposed to just focusing on the current water district, if that were possible.
Well, they do have other programs. I went to a workshop up in Oneonta too that USDA put on, where they have the community facilities grants. They don't give out as many grants, but they do have low interest loans, which can save money too for projects like you're talking about. And I will look into that further, the idea of capital planning grants, because maybe there, even a state shared services grant could be explored, as long as you're talking about efficiencies and, consolidating.
Well, one of the deficiencies that were pointed out in our sanitary report from the Department of Health was the pressure and inadequacy of pressure from the water tank coming down off the hill to a lot of people in the water district. And one of the things that came out is we really do need a new water tank. So any monies we can get for that would be extremely helpful, because that's not going to be an inexpensive proposition.
Well, we had initially thought we could apply for it's called the Water Infrastructure Investment Act. The state just implemented it a couple years ago, and it does have significant money, but one of the requirements is having this engineering report. So we're not really ready this year unless you have that engineering report for that. But and also, I like what you said too, that's another thing that Stephen Bornt was telling me yesterday, that, and I knew this too, that there are state government agencies that can help towns, people in various levels. They even have engineers, like the DOT has engineers that can give us technical assistance from time to time. So I think a lot of it is really having a grasp on the program and controlling costs. There really is a value to having an engineer who knows the system. But anyway, I appreciate time, and
I just forwarded you the email follow-up from that seminar from the Syracuse EFC. So if you want to take a look at that, and I can also introduce you to some of the folks that ran that. They might have some other ideas.
That sounds good, Daniel. Thanks.
I think also on the windows idea, the CAC had agreed to work on the Climate Smart Communities project. And I know that if you follow their, we've done a lot of improvements here that would already qualify us for a lot of points. So if we could find out from Europa McGovern, for instance, if the windows, the replacement of these windows would qualify for some funding for through Climate Smart Communities. I guess we're probably a ways away from being ready to apply for grants, but if that's a possibility, you could leverage if it's a matching, for instance, you could leverage the $50,000 that we got from the Dormitory Authority for the $50,000 that is outstanding that we would owe, and then you would have a $100,000 project, just like that. But anyway, that's what I would think, unless you have another idea, might be worth pursuing in the next 2 weeks, is to see.
Oh, to cover that gap of the 100,000?
Yeah, Europa McGovern would know probably off the top of her head how realistic that might be or unrealistic.
I appreciate the opportunity to have some time to work on that too and talk to the engineers and see what the situation is. Like maybe there is a solution to that, and even there is sometimes advantages to completing grants and drawing down funds and then seeking phase 2 of grants, maybe even since SAM is kind of a more legislative driven type grant. If the senator sees that we're making progress, maybe there could be another grant. I would definitely advise the Dormitory Authority about what has happened, in terms of the bids coming in above. That's right, because we were only applying for materials. We weren't considering the construction aspects. But no matter what it is, it was recommended in the audit. So improving the building envelope is definitely going to make the building more energy efficient, and it's definitely going to save you money. Eventually, that was part of the grant too. We had to do some calculations of the payback. By doing this, it's going to pay back eventually in terms of energy savings. I'm pretty sure we did do some.
Yeah, we did do some calculations.
Matrix on that.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's.
Thanks, everyone. I'll stick around in case you need me a little bit.
Thank you.
So I think you were trying to give them authorization, but I don't think that actually happened.
I'll make a motion to authorize Mike Haggerty, our grant writer, to pursue the USDA water and wastewater grant for an engineering study.
Second.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Purdy?
Yes.
Did I say Gutierrez? Yeah. No, but I have him writing your name down, so.
And Mike, please look out for anything that can help with Wassaic Park, because aside from my wife giving me grief about it, we have had numerous complaints sent our way, and it's in quite a state of disrepair. So
I really do want to do something there. I did visit and took some pictures, and we did get a lot of good support. So I will look into that, Damien. There probably are other smaller grants too we could explore, like Berkshire Taconic and
Well, that's what we're looking, because we really need to hire a landscape architect, to do a plan for us. The problem down there where the weeds keep growing up, there's no drainage. The equipment was put in without proper drainage. So they've tried fabric and everything they can think of. But where the playground equipment, that all has to be dug up. But as part of the plan we were looking at with Parkitect was that particular equipment is more for older children, was to expand that area and add equipment for younger children as well.
Just, I had said before in relation to the bid that our next meeting is in 2 weeks, so we have time to work on this. It's really 3 weeks because we're an odd one of the month. So the first meeting and second meeting in September both fall within the 45-day window of holding that bid. So if you do feel that there's something that's worthwhile, we need to know about, we have a little bit of time. I don't think you'll get a grant awarded within that period of time, but we at least will know if we should pursue this project at the full price or seek to reconstitute it in a different manner, but we do have a little bit more time than I thought.
Okay. Amenia Town Hall generator change order resolution. Resolution number
50.
This is for the engineering firm that's working on the generator. Authorizing change order to Fellinger Engineering LLP Engineering Design Services Agreement regarding emergency standby generator at Town Hall. Whereas the Town Board authorized a proposal for engineering design services from Fellinger Engineering LLP to design the emergency power generator at Town Hall by Resolution Number 41 of 2017, adopted by the Town Board on October 5, 2017. Whereas as a result of unexpected circumstances, additional design work and preparation of additional design documents reflecting owner-provided equipment from New York State bid, including potential upgrades to incoming electrical service in order to support the size of the generator, has to be performed. Whereas Fellinger LLP has submitted a change order dated August 3, 2018 for consideration in the amount of $5,200. Now therefore be it resolved that the additional design work and preparation of additional design documents to design the emergency power generator at Town Hall is authorized in the amount of $5,200, increasing the total contract amount from $10,500 to $15,700. Be it further resolved that the town supervisor is hereby authorized to execute change order number 1 in the amount of $5,200 in substantially the same form as the next year too.
Did you make that motion?
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
Discussion. What is going on? What is the change order for? I mean, the language here says unforeseen circumstances, including or reflecting the owner provided equipment.
That's us becoming that 1122 category that made us emergency response provider. That's what they're talking about there. Additional design work. The original generator, we were looking at propane generators, but this building is too big for propane, so now the design has to be for a diesel generator. And also, to accommodate the generator, we have to upgrade the electrical. And they sent you all I sent you all the detail to that.
Well, I have a summary here. I have the email that Jim wrote back in September where we were vetting the bids, but I don't see the actual change order from them. So if you could send that, that would be helpful. I'm a little confused as to how they didn't know that the service would have to be upgraded. So I'm not prepared to vote for this until I have a better understanding of what they want to change order for. But
I sent you the email with the details of the change order. You should have it.
I don't. I'm sorry. Well, I'm searching my email for Fellinger, so maybe it's not there. Either way, it's a lot of money. It's a 50% change order. And we received 3 bids. They were all roughly in the same area. So let's see. Yeah, it was 11,000 from Whitman. Either way, this is disappointing. Sorry if I missed an email, Victoria. But we have a
Well, I
motion,
think it
so.
is a good point in that we did bid this out, and they were the winning bid, and maybe they didn't, maybe all three didn't realize that propane wouldn't be sufficient, and that it seems like we've all known that the electrical system has to be upgraded here, right? We've all known that the kitchen can't progress unless we upgrade this thing. So it's, I guess it's maybe our fault that we didn't make it absolutely crystal clear, but they are the engineers putting
Victoria,
a
I
bid.
take that back. I do have the email from you. Sorry, Vicky.
I'm just saying that I think you bring up a good point in that, well, it does happen. I mean, we selected them, they've done work, now they need more money to complete the job.
So in the email, Emily O'Neill, the engineer from Felmser, says that we would like to provide you with a proposal for additional services to compensate us for the following steps. And the first was work with the generator supplier to select the appropriate generator and accessories for your municipality based on our calculated requirements as well as the requirements of the NFPA Life Safety Code. And then the second item was revise our current design documents and specifications to reflect owner-provided equipment and accessories. So meaning, because we're procuring...
We're using state bid.
Yeah, because we're procuring the generator ourselves, they want to revise their...
What do you mean we're getting it ourselves?
We're procuring it through the state bidding service. They're not procuring it for us. That's basically owner-provided equipment is how I read that. Meaning the town is going to buy a generator, they want to amend their design to accommodate for the fact that the town is providing our own equipment.
No. They're looking at the types of generators that we can purchase under state bid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going out and picking out a generator. They're doing it. That's their job.
Okay, then I don't know what she means by revise our current design documents and specifications to reflect owner-provided equipment and accessories.
Because owner-provided equipment, because we weren't, I did the paperwork so that the town could be under the Office of General Services.
Mm-hmm.
It's called 1122, that makes us an emergency responder there. So what that means that they need to look through the state bid contracts to see which generator would be appropriate for our building.
Yeah, that's the
I
first...
do not have the knowledge to be able to do that.
Sure, that's her first point. Work with the generator supplier to select the appropriate
Right.
generator. The second point, which is the one I'm saying, revise our current design documents and specifications to reflect owner-provided equipment and accessories. That's the one I don't really know. I don't know what that means. I personally don't feel that there's enough clarity here to justify a 50% increase in the cost of
I agree.
this.
I think you're right.
This change order. So we can. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, if you want more clarity, you can call them and get clarity, because I'm not doing this. I'm tired of spoon-feeding everybody. You have questions about something, you call them yourself and get your answers.
Okay.
But where are
Just have a
our
vote.
options at this point? Because they've already done design work for us. I guess that we would then hire another engineering firm.
No,
if
we're
we
not.
came to an
I agree
impasse.
with you.
No, we're not
Talks
doing that.
about that, but
We
it
already
sounds
have
like
one.
We want more because you're buying it yourself. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. I don't know.
I agree with you.
Who's
I'm-
buying it ourselves? We're not buying anything
That's what it
ourselves.
says.
It does not. It says owner-provided equipment from New York State bid. It means that they, under the contract, everybody who's under state bid, they get assigned a number. So they are going to go under our number and see what contracts are available to the town of Amenia and look at them and see which one is compatible for the building. I'm certainly not doing it. This is something they have to do because they have the expertise to do it.
Right, well, that's what they bid to do, and now they're, for $12,000 or $11,000, 10.5, and now they're changing that to 15. So,
Yes, because originally they were looking at propane. And as they went along and looked at propane generators,
Did we
they
specify?
found for this, I don't tell them what kind of generator, they
so
looked
then
at
why
it.
why should we pay them another $5,000 because they just happen to be looking at propane generators at the outset?
They did the work. They did the work. They looked at they've been here and looked to see what would have to happen here, because there's the electrical, we're talking about like a type of special transfer switch that has to be here. And in order for the transfer switch to be here, you have to upgrade the electrical.
Yep.
Just like you'd have to do in your own house if you put in a generator.
And I'm not mad at them, and I'm just, in general, I object to hiring somebody to do something for a certain amount of money when they've bid on it, and then, through what's not totally clear to me, their lack of understanding of the scope of the project at the outset, or some sort of...
Well, that's your opinion.
But it seems to me, though, with their level of expertise, that when they came in here and bid the job, they should have known that a
They haven't
propane-
come in and do the job yet. They come in and
you have
scoped
to-
out the
you
job.
have to come in and do a bid.
They did a bid.
But don't you have to come in and look at the premises before you give a bid?
They did.
All right, well, shouldn't they have known then, at that time, that a propane generator was not going to be sufficient? Seems to me they should have.
Fundamentally, hiring people to do work and then having them come back to the town a couple weeks later, a month into the job, and say, oh, well, it's going to be 50% more expensive is disturbing to me. I mean, I'm not qualified either. I'm not an electrician, and I'm certainly not a...
No, they're the qualified ones. And if you have questions about this, and you call them and you ask them the questions.
Okay, I will be happy.
Because I sent you all the information that they sent me. And they were, one of their specialties is doing generators.
Just to be fair, you did send that email, which I just read, but this is the first time that I'm seeing the amount of the change. And so that's fine. I will call them. I'll call them on Monday.
Well, the change order was sent to you too.
Yeah, it's part of the resolution.
No, before that. I've had, forget it. If you want to table it to the next time, fine.
Well, we have a vote, but I am through with my comments.
Roll.
Supervisor Prodi?
We're voting to accept it.
The way that the resolutions, so if you vote yes, if there's 3 or more, it'll pass. If you vote no,
Yes.
then... Councilwoman Doyle?
No.
Councilman Gutierrez?
No.
Councilman Morris?
No.
Councilman Samoji?
Yes.
Motion fails.
I'll call them on Monday. I'll call them tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. It's not Friday.
Resolution 51.
Yes, please.
Authorizing a public hearing on the intended use of Community Development Block Grant funds and a submission of the grant application for fiscal year 2019. Whereas the town of Amenia is a participant in the Dutchess County Urban Consortium for the Community Development Block Grant Program for fiscal year 2019, whereas the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development is soliciting applications for the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Program. Whereas the town of Amenia intends to make application for a community development block grant pursuant to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development's Community Development Block Grant Program for fiscal year 2019. Whereas the town of Amenia is required to hold a public hearing to discuss the town's intended use of the Community Development Block Grant funds prior to and in furtherance of making application for said funds. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby schedules a public hearing to be held at the Town Hall, Town of Amenia, 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, 12501, on the 6th day of September 2018 at 7 p.m., at which time all parties and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard as to the grant proposal for the Community Development Block Grant Funds being applied for by the Town of Amenia for fiscal year 2019. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to publish and post the notice of public hearing in the form annexed hereto at least 5 days prior to the scheduled public hearing and post same on the town's website and signboard maintained by the town clerk. I make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Purdy?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Smoji?
Yes.
I took last year's exact because I did not have one.
Okay, Resolution 52, transfer of funds. Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary and unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment increasing the expense line 7110.2 Amenia Park EQ equipment by $490.84 for the purchase of Wassaic Park replacement swing playground equipment to be funded by increasing the appropriated fund balance 599 by $490.84. The cash is currently residing in the Parks and Recreation Savings Account. We are authorizing the $490.84 to be transferred from the Parks and Recreation Savings Account to the General Fund checking account in order to pay for this equipment. I make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Purdy?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Okay, and we have the Resolution 53
Son of a gun.
for accepting the deed and easement.
Yes, that's going to be 53.
Really?
No, it's corrected on our end.
Oh, okay.
I'll speak to the supervisor later. Sorry.
He's a woman and I'm a man.
That's what I was talking
So one of us needs to wear more or less makeup.
Oh, the one I have is right, so. Accepting deed and easement for Wassaic Trail to the Train, whereas the town of Amenia is developing a multi-use public trail from the Wassaic Station to the hamlet of Wassaic, and whereas the town board previously issued a negative declaration for the project under seeker. Whereas the town requires a right-of-way over the property owned by Wassaic Auction Barn LLC and the Metropolitan Transportation Authority to construct the trail. Whereas Wassaic Auction Barn LLC has agreed to donate the land necessary for the trail right-of-way to the town of Amenia in fee simple absolute. Whereas Wassaic Auction Barn LLC has delivered to the town of Amenia bargain and sale deed for the property dated June 23, 2018. Whereas Metropolitan Transportation Authority agreed to donate the land necessary for the trail right-of-way to the town of Amenia by the conveyance of a permanent non-inclusive easement. And whereas Metropolitan Transportation Authority has delivered to the town of Amenia's easement agreement for the trail right-of-way dated April 2nd, 2018, which was recorded in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk as document number 0220183086. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Amenia hereby accepts a bargain and deed sale dated July 23, 2018 from Wassaic Auction Barn LLC and authorizes the supervisor to sign said deed and hereby ratifies her signature on the deed and all associated transfer documents. It's further resolved that the town board of the town of Amenia hereby accepts the easement agreement from the Metropolitan Transportation Authority dated April 2nd, 2018 and authorizes the supervisor to sign said deed hereby ratifies her signature on the easement agreement and all associated transfer documents. Is it further resolved that the attorney to the town is hereby directed to cause the bargain of sale deed to be filed in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk, together with any other necessary releases and transfer documents. Further resolved that all outstanding taxes on the property donated by Wassaic Auction Barn shall be paid out of funds appropriated for the Wassaic Train to the Trail project. Make that motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes.
This is awesome. Hooray. Do we have an idea of how much, how many, if any, outstanding taxes are due on the property?
I don't. The only outstanding taxes I believe are on the property are the school tax bill, which has not been released yet.
Oh, right.
So I don't know what that is, and this would, effectively, our obligation is only for our portion of the property, but the bill needs to be, the lien has to be satisfied before the deed can be filed because of the nature of this transaction. So we'll have to work that out, but we've got to get this thing filed because we've got to move on the grant program before we lose it this year.
Absolutely. I just was making sure there weren't back.
No,
Okay,
no.
great. Awesome.
Roll.
Good. Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
I feel like we deserve a slow clap.
Is there public comment? Go ahead.
David Connors, Powderhouse Road, Amenia. Last month I was here and questioned you about an invoice from a company of Sebi Environmental Services. And
Dave,
no
I'm
one
sorry.
responded.
Would you mind moving the microphone? It's hard to hear you.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you move the microphone a little closer to your... Sorry, I can't hear you. Thank you.
By the way, it was very difficult to hear you tonight.
Me, personally?
Yes, actually you,
Is this better?
Supervisor Perotti, and Ms. Doyle don't come through clearly at all. And I think if you pay attention to how Dawn Marie has her microphone, you might try that.
We could all take a lesson. Is this better?
Thanks,
Thank
But
Lee.
you all come muffled, especially with the air conditioner running. It's very, very difficult to understand what you're saying. Now, that's why I came tonight, but I'm going to change this because I don't know you don't want to be here for the next hour listening to me, nor would you be. But tonight you were talking about repairing windows in the bottom floor, and it sounds like you really don't know what you're doing yet. What you want done, I should say, not know what you're doing. But I don't want to see another taxpayer bill of like the one we spent on unclogging a toilet. That's utterly ridiculous. The windows, if you don't know what you're asking for, same thing with the generator. If you don't know what you're doing, there's plenty of people in this town that can help you through this. John Locurdo, talk to him. He can give you an idea of what to ask the people who are going to install the generator. He's a very intelligent electrician. And he's also a taxpayer of Amenia. He won't let you waste his money. And when it comes to the windows, putting windows in a building of this age is a very difficult process. I was in the window sales department for a long time, and I know putting them in a brick window, a brick encasement, is not a simple job. I don't want to see us investing this kind of money in this building, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it should be bulldozed and put up a brand new one that's economically sound. when it comes to the expense of operating it. I don't know what we're spending in a year on a yearly basis, but it's got to be over $250,000. Got to be. And this building's not going to get cheaper. It's old, it's decrepit, just like me. Structurally, we spent how many thousands of dollars on the front door that still doesn't work? It's a perfect example. The building needs to be demolished. There's a reason why it only costs the town of Amenia $1. They saw you coming. That's my opinion. Any response?
The cost of demolition is quite significant just in...
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
The cost of demolition is certainly a staggering number usually. But anyway, that's just what came to mind.
So it's been considered in your mind?
No, it's just that you're bringing up demolition, and I know when you're talking about demolition, it takes your breath away when you're talking about demolition.
What I'm telling you is, if you spent the money we're spending on maintenance of this building and improvements and trying to turn it into something it is, it's never going to be, you could build a decent-sized building that would be economically up to date as far as heating, electricity, automatic generator, all these things. $250,000 a year, and I'm guessing, but I'm pretty sure I'm inaccurate, that it costs us that much each year. I don't know what the budget is, but I'm going to find out.
I will say we have been exploring grant opportunities, so...
You and your grants, let me tell you something about grants. Grants are generally taxpayer money. Comes from richer folks. Let's not waste it. It's not an emptyless pit.
Somebody will get the grant if we don't apply for it. So yes, we are all paying for those grant subsidies, but if we aren't competitive and out there in the arena, our dollars will go to subsidize wealthy ones, which pay to have grant administrators and grant writers at these meetings when
I'm not complaining about you getting grants. I know every town gets them, and we all pay for them.
Right.
But when we don't spend, if we don't spend our money wisely, it's our general taxes go up.
I'll also say we have a couple of folks in the audience tonight who came here seeking use of the facility, and we as a board are trying to encourage as much use of this facility to get the most bang out of the taxpayer buck. The decision to buy this building for $1 predates all of us on this board, and...
I was on the board.
I was on the board.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of us were on the board.
When we initially decided to buy this building for, what was it, $1 or something?
$1.
$1, okay? The big selling point was we're going to rent all these offices. Now, I don't know. Supervisor Perardi has one office. Her secretary has another. Her secretary has another one. We're wasting the space.
I would suggest that maybe you prepare some figures yourself and come in with some...
I'm not smart enough. That's
well,
something
then you really shouldn't be here telling us what we're doing wrong.
I am telling you what you're doing wrong.
Well, then I would suggest that if you know that we're doing something wrong... Please don't interrupt me, sir. If you know that we're doing something wrong, then you should prepare something to show that we're doing something wrong, rather than just come in here and complain about things all the time. I've only been around here for a year, but I've had to sit here and listen to you go through your diatribes about 3 times now, and I'm kind of sick of it.
Twice.
Maybe twice. Twice is too many, as far as I'm concerned. If you have facts, bring them forth. But don't come in here and complain and not have any facts.
Okay, let's go back to you authorized, I assume, all 5 of you authorized the payment of this bill for totaling over $73,000 to unclog a toilet? Come on.
That's not true.
What do you mean it's not true? It's right here.
It is not true, sir, and you know it's not true.
Okay. SCBI Environmental Services. You heard of them?
This is good.
$46,821.11 was paid on April 18th. An additional $5,000 paid to the same people, $857, same date.
I would suggest that what you do is submit something in writing to this board, and we will take a look at it. Rather than taking up the time of this board and everybody that's at home watching this on TV, I would suggest that you write something concrete and we can review it, rather than just going through all of this stuff right now, which really doesn't mean anything to me.
It doesn't mean anything to you?
It doesn't help me at all, no, sir. When I don't have anything in front of me that I can look at, it doesn't help me.
Were you aware of these bills? Simple question. It's a yes or no answer.
I get things that are sent to me over the email, and I review them. That's all I can tell you. We get a lot of things. I don't remember specific things sometimes. Sometimes I do. I'm fallible like everybody else.
I find it hard to believe your answer. I apologize for you. I don't know you at all. As a matter of fact, I don't know 3 of you. Actually 4.
Well, we're trying to do a job, okay? And
I'm saying we're wasting money on this building. That's all I want to get across
I hear you saying
tonight.
that, sir. I hear you saying that, and if you have facts to show that that's the case, I suggest that you put them down on paper. That's all.
And do what with them? You're going to use them for toilet
Present them
paper?
to us in some kind of an orderly fashion, and we can consider it.
And how do I get this paper, quote unquote,
I presume
to
that you have the ability to read and write, and you can do that.
I can do that and make 5 copies, 1 for each of you, and you're willing to discuss it for me?
I'm sure that if you brought them in here, that Dawn Marie would make the copies for you.
Yep. And distribute them to us, yes.
And you're willing to discuss it with me?
We're willing to discuss it to a point. If it has some merit, we will discuss it, yes. If it has merit.
All right, we'll head that direction.
That's fine.
And this will be topic number 1.
That's fine, however you want to do it.
And when are we going to do this?
Whenever you're ready. Whenever you have something that you can present to us.
How about this time next month? 3rd Thursday of the month. Right here in this building, so everyone can hear.
If you have,
every tax. Do you know how many phone calls I got and how many people stopped by my house after I brought up the price of the paper towels in the toilet?
If you have something that you can present and it has some merit, we will discuss it. We can put it on the agenda. It depends on when you have it ready. Okay?
In other words, you really don't care how much money we're spending because you obviously don't know.
Please, please. Don't insult my intelligence and everybody else's here.
I'm not insulting you. That's basically what you're telling me. You don't know what we're spending.
Mr. Connors, if I may, so what the councilman is suggesting is that you prepare something maybe a little bit more formal in a written statement along with the supporting documentations that you have. And if you give it to me, I'll be glad to scan it and email it to the board. And when they're talking about adding it onto the agenda, that means they can add it on as a discussion. During the public comment period, it is truly intended and part of the rules and regs that they did in the beginning of the year at the reorganizational meeting. During public comment, it gives the public the opportunity to comment. It's not really a discussion. I know you're very upset about the board members not always answering you back, and it's only fair that you understand the process, as does all the people that are out there in TV land watching right now. During public comment, you get to come and comment about anything that you want that's going on in the community, in the town, and then they can add it if it has warrant. They can add it on as an agenda item. So if you're looking to discuss the bills accordingly, like you've brought now to our attention twice, and then that way they can have the opportunity to review what's in your hand. Because clearly you have it in your hand and they don't know what you have in your hand. Specifically what you're just holding. I know, I have the knowledge that from the foils that have been submitted, so I know you have 2 sets of the bills, but unfortunately, the board members don't have that same opportunity to review the items in your hand. So out of fairness, you're not having an equal conversation.
All right.
So just provide something that what you want to discuss with them, and then I'll be glad to circulate it, and we have each other's email, and you'll be CC'd on the email that I send to them.
Where is this discussion? I'm glad you brought that up, Dawn. Where is this discussion going to be held, and who is going to attend?
Well, I think that would be part of your request, to really tell us what you're looking for, who are you looking to meet with, and what you're looking to discuss. You know, this is not like a planning board meeting where a presenter comes in and has maps and presents. Here at the town board, they are going through the policies, procedures, and ensuring that government is ran in an organized fashion. We have 2 meetings a month. The first one is really meant to be a workshop, but we do it, we call it a business workshop, where there's more opportunity to discuss new natures. And then your second meeting of the month is intended to be the actual business meeting, where like tonight what you witnessed was a lot of resolutions where they're going in and making things more formal. So I think it would be best once we get what you specifically are looking to discuss and what type of nature you're looking to discuss, we can put you on the appropriate agenda. Or are you looking just to have a meeting with the supervisor? Or are you looking just to meet with a town board member and myself present? Really, I don't think it's really been clear what you want. I mean, I know you want to discuss those items, but they don't know those items specifically, what you have. I mean, I know you know.
So if I get them a copy ahead of time, so they know exactly what I want to discuss.
Yes.
And we will meet somewhere in this building.
Yes. I mean, I have an office that is open to the public. You're welcome to we can arrange something. Are you looking to speak with one of the council members, with the supervisor? I'll be glad to bring you to my office and we can talk.
I want to know if all 5 of you are on the same team.
Okay, so then in order to do that,
So I want to discuss
Then it would
with
have to
all
be-
5.
then it would happen here on a Thursday night at a town board meeting.
September 6th or September 20th, 7 o'clock.
Those are the 2 meeting dates for September.
The first and third Thursdays
Yes.
of each month.
Yes.
First Thursday, unfortunately, is out for me. It's always got
Okay,
to
so
be
you
the
want to do
third.
the second one, so she just said it was the 20th?
20th.
20th. So then
And
that'll
you'll
give you time.
discuss it at that town board meeting?
I will put it on the agenda.
Provided you submit something in advance so that,
Well, I've requested it from Dawn, and if I get it, I'll have her make copies, and I'll make sure we get it there.
but just as a
Okay.
practical, fundamental amount of fairness, I don't think it's appropriate for you to continue to characterize this project as a clogged toilet where they spent $70,000 on it. It was a significant project, and I think you know that, so
I know it ended up to being a significant
Right.
project, but I don't know if it was, if there was more than one estimate, how you came up with the people that did the job.
Yep. So go ahead and just put,
It's got lots of questions here. This looks
To mo-
very, very...
to move this along, Mr. Connors, because public comment is a 5-minute limit, which I'm not putting you on a limit specifically, but we
It
try
used to be 3, thank you.
So what we're trying to do is just, so if you get your thoughts together, and if you want to, we can meet, you get the comments, I'll put them all together, and I'll scan them off to the board, just to move tonight along, and then that way the board can have the opportunity to review your questions. And unfortunately, I just want to let you know something. After your last public comment here, this part of the supervisor's report, which is available on our town website, because I upload her reports every meeting. So the last meeting on the 2nd, supervisor did happened to be part of her report. She did discuss some of those items, what you're trying, like why the costs were what they were.
Yes.
So be sure to review the, we're available on YouTube. You can go to our website and you can see her report, just so you know that she did already address the public as to where those costs were.
I'm not much of a computer person.
Okay, well, if you want to come in, I'll be more than glad to give you a copy of her report.
The appearance is what really scares me. I don't know where this money went, why it went to these people. But the appearance of it smells. Let's just leave
There
it
you
at
go.
that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any town board comments?
Oh, do I get another 5 minutes?
No, you're done. Go ahead.
It's a good try, though.
Okay. First off, thank you. Last meeting when I was thanking people who donated things to us, I left off Hard Roll Cafe. They donated a gift certificate of $20. So I just wanted to, I saw that myself. No one pointed it out to me. But I just wanted to thank them for that. Also, last time we had the Dutchess County ASPCA person come and speak about an event that they were holding that Sunday at the South Amenia Church. And the response that I got back from them was, I killed it.
Fly, good catch.
Yeah, I killed a fly, folks, if you've just... So, yeah, I'm a little dangerous. Anyway, the Dutchess County ASPCA, the event went very well. They reported back to me that people, and thank you to everyone who showed up, because people saw us not only on the TV, but also on the YouTube, and I think that's the correct phrase for that. And they filled a hatchback with all kinds of pet foods and things, leaving just enough room for the driver to drive the hatchback away. And the South Amenia Church is working on a plan to be able to dispense food, animal food for their pets and stuff, their location. So they're working on phone numbers, dates, times, and stuff like that. I just wanted to just let you know that. That people do watch us. Hello, everyone. The trip to Hunterdown Playhouse was a great success. That was yesterday. We had a lot of fun. And they were absolutely wonderful to us. We would have, the seats there would be called orchestra seats. Totally wonderful to us, and we had a great time. And Joyce DeWitt, if you ever do get the opportunity to go and see her, she is really very good and very comical. I mean, you will laugh yourself silly with her. There's another thing that I just want to bring up. You're going to see it on the TV and other places. Senior Bowling League at Dollar Bill Lanes in New Milford. It used to be called Laurie's Lanes. They play every Tuesday, starts the second Tuesday after Labor Day, September 11th. And the phone numbers you call Judy Ball at 845-289-0142. And everyone is welcome to bowl, who's a senior, and it's great, good fun. We just have good fun, nothing else.
What's the age limit for seniors?
You mean age limit for seniors?
Well, is it senior age or a senior town?
It's 55 and over.
AARP age, or actually, that's only 50.
For those of us who know what a senior age is, okay, 55 and up.
Okay.
And we do have them up there. We do have folks that are up there.
Damien's not quite 50, but I think he wants
But
to play.
he could come down and he could have a good time. We'd have a good time with Damien, making crazy in the head by the time he was done. The next, we do have a lot of fun. You're going to enjoy it. You would come. You should come. You should enjoy yourself. It's just for fun and stuff, and it's not like everybody's totally crazy about making 300. Hello? Some of us just want to make it to 100. You know what I'm talking about? Okay. Polka Day trip to the Villa Roma is our next trip on Tuesday, September 25th. And the cost is $50 per person. You make the checks payable to the town of Amenia. You send them to me. And if you have questions, you call me. I think I'm on this list here. My phone number is someplace. Anyway, my phone number is 845-877-9430. Sign up seniors, and that's 55 plus. And I just want to say this one thing, because some people need assistance. If you need assistance, you're a senior and you need assistance, but you have like a daughter, a friend, a neighbor, and they're not necessarily 55, but they're over 20 or 21 or something like that, you know, and you would need them to assist you to get on and off the bus and stuff like that. You can just call me and tell me what it is, and we will do our best to accommodate you, okay? Because we want all the seniors who possibly can attend these trips to attend them. And I think I have said everything I have to say this evening, except wishing you all a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next time.
Are there any other town board comments?
I have some, unless Damien wants to go first.
I just wanted to reiterate that I'm very happy that the right-of-way has been secured. Thank you, Victoria, for pursuing that, and hooray for the trail to the train.
So I had emailed earlier today, but you may not have seen it, an email that described my desire to increase the theater arts instructor's fee from $4,000 to $4,500 this year. And I know we described that earlier when I wrote for the grant to Arts Mid-Hudson, and everybody seemed to be for it. But I wanted to make sure before we actually started in and created our flyers and got the whole program going, that we were all still ready to authorize the increase to $4,500. In my email, I described that we have brought in grants sufficient to cover that cost, that we've brought in $5,300, and if you look at the state aid youth program in your July operating statement, it's up to $5,372 that's been deposited. That's $4,000 from Berkshire Taconic and $1,372 from Arts Mid-Hudson. And our current budget is $5,150. So I'm going to increase the instructors line by $500 at our next meeting. Hopefully we'll have that resolution ready. And then I'll have to figure out where the extra $222 that I have in surplus needs to go, whether that's in props or costumes or whatever as the program unfolds. But I wanted to make sure before we hired her and got her started that we had an understanding for sure that that is okay. I assume it is, since we have enough money in the grants to cover it.
You just need to do a transfer.
Okay, so that's my main thing. We do start in September, and we haven't yet finalized our schedule, but the plan is to begin with auditions on September 7th, Friday, September 7th, and we will have 14 workshops instead of 10, so we'll have some Friday nights as well to get this ambitious program underway. It's going to be the musical Elf Junior, so it's going to be a performance that will culminate in December 8th and 9th, that weekend, 2 performances. My second point is that I did want to follow up with this streetlights issue, and I would be in favor of the gentleman on Under Mountain Road, I believe, in Wassaic, who requests that we don't have that light repaired and replaced if he's the only homeowner there who is on a dead end and doesn't need the streetlights. Streetlights cost us a lot of money. And I think the residents have a very good point. If they're unfortunately caught right underneath the incandescent light, it's just, you know, you might as well be in New York City. So I would recommend that if NYSEG says it's our town pole and we can take it away, let's take it away. It needs to be fixed. He can save some money and we can save some money. The other person I would suggest, if this is, I didn't realize this was so, but there is in Leedsville Road, at the end of Leedsville Road, well, at the junction of Leedsville and Route 41 going to Sharon, those homeowners all really do not like that street lamp. They ask for that bright light to be dimmed back to that yellow, and I think they'd just as be happy to have it gone altogether. So I would ask those residents, or let them know that this is a possibility, and they could petition us as well with a simple email. Does that seem good for everybody else?
Yes, sure.
The reduction of extraneous light just isn't really appropriate necessarily in some of these rural neighborhoods.
I have to see what the process is to do that, because I have no
100%
idea.
Sure. It did sound to me from the investigation that you did that it was a
No, I didn't
possibility.
do a thing.
NYSEG, oh, that NYSEG said it was possible for us to remove it.
Yeah, but I don't know what
That
the
we have to
process, what
follow
the
the
actual
safety.
process is.
Could you, well, I guess I could call Chuck Walters and see from a safety point, but he's the
That wouldn't
he's
be
the
him?
state, right? Who's the county guy who would be concerned about safety, road safety, traffic safety?
Bob Borgheim,
Oh, yeah, he's our representative.
DPW Commissioner.
Okay, I'll find out if this is as easy as us doing it. I'm sure they'll probably say, actually, there's some, maybe on the dead-end road, it won't be as much of an issue.
Now, where exactly is the light? Is it across from his house on Under Mountain Road?
Yes, it sounds like it's adjacent to his house. He's on a dead end.
Well-
There's not a lot of houses there, so.
We
he
should
must
check
be
with the
Well,
last
that
other
would be our
homeowners.
road, wouldn't be the county's.
in that particular situation, but the one that I'm describing on Leedsville Road is a county road.
No, I'm not talking about Leedsville, I'm talking about the gentleman who actually sent the email. That would be our road.
So maybe
And it
it's-
would be a light within our Wassaic lighting district.
Right.
So I'll see if I can find our contact at NYSEG and ask what we would do.
Okay.
But I don't think we can just go ask them and take a light down.
Basically, the town board, on behalf of the district, can make certain requests. And I know,
But we have to find out to who.
right, I know how it works with Central Hudson, because I deal with them in other towns. I haven't dealt with NYSEG on that issue, but there is someone that can handle that. Just like if you wanted to add a light that's within your district, there's a process to go through with them as well.
Okay. So do you think you're more capable of looking into that, or?
I can certainly find out who the contact is, and if you want me to reach out to them, I can do that. But like I said, I know the counterpart in Central Hudson. I don't know who it is in NYSEG.
I guess I'll start with Bob Balkine, and maybe he can give me general information about the whole process. Okay, I'll start with him. This other thing I asked is, I had questions from the public. Did we actually hold a proper public hearing on the noise ordinance? Because I don't think we ever got to that stage, and some people who had comments weren't able to present them.
We never had the public hearing.
It hasn't happened yet. You haven't introduced the local law yet to have the public
We
hearing
haven't
on.
So
done
we're
anything.
changing it before we're doing the public hearing. Is that correct?
Well, we're taking all the comments that we got from the public and we've sent it to,
But they didn't get a chance to comment, is their issue. Because we didn't actually have a public hearing on what was submitted.
well, when the local law gets introduced again, we'll set up a public hearing and they can come and speak to it.
Okay.
But we haven't introduced the local
Okay.
law.
I thought maybe I had missed something. Okay.
Because we didn't go ahead and do that, we tabled it.
I think he had just submitted a draft for the board's comment, and while he
Yeah,
was
that's
giving a
all,
presentation,
all we have is a draft.
certain members of the public had comments about that draft, which you forwarded on to
Okay.
the
Which we
attorney.
sent it to them.
And then my last comment is the candidate jam that's here at the Amenia Town Hall on August 25th. That's Saturday. Not this Saturday, but the following one, from 1 to 4 p.m. at the Amenia Town Hall. And it will be 2 candidates giving it's question and answers and all kinds of information. They're the Democratic candidates for the New York State senatorial position. That's Karen Smythe, running for our district, and Dee Dee Barrett, who's an incumbent New York State Assemblywoman. So if you have questions or interest in attending, we would welcome anybody from any party to attend. That's it. Thank you very much.
Before the gym motion, do we
Jim has one
want
motion.
to have an executive session, or do you guys want to introduce the contemplated law amendment just now, or?
The what?
The
So I had sent an
amendments?
email.
Oh, yes. I
We
think
can-
you can do that in public.
We can do that, sure.
That's
So-
a proposed local law.
We've had a couple of occasions in my short time on the board where there have been some questions about conflicts of interest, potential conflicts of interest, and people sitting on various boards and whether they should or should not participate. And each of those cases have been handled individually on their own particular merits and their own circumstances. What we don't have currently is any consistency with a town board of ethics ruling and sitting member of a board. And should the Board of Ethics determine that there is a conflict of interest, how that sitting member of a board should behave. And so I had, just for the sake of clarity and for to ensure the highest ethical standards, I had suggested that perhaps we consider amending town law to reflect that any sitting member of the town board, the zoning board of appeals, or the planning board should be obligated to mandatorily recuse themselves in the event the town board of ethics determines that that particular board member has a conflict on a matter in front of that board. And so with
Is that something we can do? I didn't think so.
Well, you sent an email out on that?
Yeah.
not to
did.
you, it was just to us internally.
So I think the issue that sparked this, we just did discuss earlier this year that pointed out the deficiency in our local law that didn't create that. I did also say in that memo that we did have the authority to do that if the board would like to do that. So I don't know specifically what you're proposing, but conceptually, we do have the authority to create an automatic conflict and require a member to recuse themselves.
Do we have to introduce a local law?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, that was what I'd like to do, is just to authorize you to draft that, and then for us to review it at some point at the next meeting, or at one of the next couple of meetings, and then we can debate the merits and go through the process of amending the law.
So we considered, under this prior circumstance, should we amend the law now, and try and deal with it that way? But the timing just didn't work.
Yeah.
So we did go through that process, and now if you want to go back and revisit that and propose that, certainly we can, and the authority is there to do that. So
But would anyone it might pertain to, would they be grandfathered? In other words, the local law is effective on the date it becomes a local law. That's my understanding.
right.
So it would be on that time forward.
Correct. So it would apply to all city board members, but only for their conduct from that point going forward.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, I see this as important because currently the Board of Ethics, which is an important board here at the town, they don't really have an enforcement mechanism, and I think that that's a valuable thing to have for the town in general, regardless of whether a member who's sitting on this board or the ZBA or the planning board should be determined to have a conflict in the future. So I would like to make that motion to go ahead and authorize you to draft.
You make the motion, make a vote on it, but if that's approved, do you have that email you can forward?
Sure, absolutely, certainly.
Have you made the motion?
I have made the
I'll
motion.
second it.
Councilwoman Samorgi?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, that's it.
So we'll produce it originally as the draft for the board consideration without introductory resolution until you have a chance to decide whether you want to proceed and how. So we'll have that for the next meeting.
Great, thank you.
I'll see everybody at the fair. It's Fair Week.
Oh, right.
Everybody gets to take the week off and come out to the fair.
Are you ready for the motion?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
8:56. Chairman Michelle, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There you go.
So I want to